See, I can't be defeated. That's okay. My live dropped, y'all. It sure did. My live dropped. I'm not playing dropped. Right when I said Young Thug was a chosen vessel. My live stream just completely went, your live stream has ended. I kid you not. Let me just not dwell on that subject because I ain't giving no credit to the devil. But let me say this. Have you noticed a lot of OGs, a lot of rappers are not getting in the middle of this? Have you noticed Bootsy hadn't spoke out about this? Have you noticed Slim hadn't spoken out about this? Have you noticed all of the OGs have not touched this with a 10-foot pole, 10-foot pole in Atlanta? Okay, I don't have my charger here. In Atlanta or anywhere for that matter. Have you noticed that none of this came up? You know, I had one viewer on here for the longest while I was doing this video. The other video, this is part 2. I've just had to go back and stream and get back on and make sure I got connected. But have you noticed that all this stuff got stirred up in the Young Thug video? He said all of this started because of Lil Woody. And I have to agree. But I have to agree with this, that Lil Woody did help them in the trial. He helped them maneuver around this. But he's supposed to help them because he's the one that got him in this trouble in the first place. Now, this is what I discerned. I discerned that, what is his name? Big Nut. I discerned that can I just say this out loud? I discerned that he and the other brother that was his friend that ended up in his demise, I believe that they were responsible for that. You know, Lil Woody was a part of his chain getting stolen, and then he returned the chain back to Big Nut, to Nut, and I believe he's a part of his demise. I believe that he's unstable, but I also believe that God had mercy and grace on him, and that he has a heart. Now, you're saying to me, oh, so you're going to say that you believe this person has a heart and you believe they actually killed someone? How dare you say that those two things in the same sentence? I'm going to tell you how I can say it. I believe the murderer of his friend that was there. I believe that he unalived his friend. Gosh, I shouldn't have said murder. But I believe he unalived his friend in effort to, and I believe this is, it may sound kind of twisted, but I believe, and I'm just saying what I discern. And nobody's going to prove this right or wrong because God covered it. God covered it with his grace and mercy. But just like he's threatening Young Thug, he has to get back to that path that he was headed on, because a part of the path that he's preaching that Young Thug should have did, and apologizing, giving up the fact I'm King Slime. See, what does he have on Young Thug? That Young Thug was the head of all these gentlemen, and they called him King Slime, but he doesn't have on him bodies. Now, I believe that Woody was trying to make a name for himself with, quote unquote, Young Thug, King Slime. And he did these actions and no one told him not to. No one probably found out about it until afterwards, or they found out ahead of time and didn't believe that he would do it. I believe just like he was unalived in the young man, and I don't remember his name, was unalived in his apartment. I believe he was scoped out. I believe and discerned that gosh, God rest these gentlemen's souls as I speak, and it's a shame. But Lil Woody has been given immunity for those crimes. And Fannie Willis is going to have to pay for knowing, because I believe they knew who did those crimes. And she's going to have to pay for knowing this and trying to go for the big fish. And in going for the big fish, using this young man that they knew had participated in these things allegedly. Everything I'm saying is alleged. And using this for a reason to go after money. Money is the root of evil, y'all. Doesn't say money is evil, but money is the root cause of a lot of stuff that the DA's office has done. Money, the love of money. Um, I didn't want to get to this point. I was trying to go like chronologically. I was trying to go, hold on, let me fix my glasses. Chronologically, I was trying to go, well, I'm not reading right now. So let me just talk. And when I get to my papers, then I can put my glasses on so I can stop turning my head and getting confused. Okay. Lil Woody is crashing out. Let me get to that point. He's crashing out. So now he's trying to put everything on Young Thug, because who's behind it? The devil. The devil doesn't like that Young Thug got away with it. The plan and the trap that was set for him, not got away with murder, but what is his name? Rich Homie Quan. I believe he was unalived. He was meant to testify in the case. All these things were cover-ups so that it wouldn't come back to Lil Woody and his newfound fame and life. Well, all Lil Woody had to do is continue on his journey of spreading good cheer and love and loyalty. He did not allow Charleston White to get him in the position of being like him. Charleston White is like a snake. You know, the Indians used to say, you know, that white man came and they speak with a forked tongue. What is a forked tongue? A forked tongue is how the snake's tongue is. It has a tongue like this, and it goes out like this. That means they're speaking one way and speaking another. That means they're trying to act like they're so righteous. And I watched a video one time that Charleston White did, and I really got something out of it. I was like, this man is a genius. But at the same time, he wants to be a genius. He also wants to be manipulative, fault-finding, accusatory, and judgmental. And the Bible says bitter and sweet water is not supposed to come out of the same fountain. Not only does it say that, it also says that God gives us a choice to choose who we're going to serve, God or man, and man or mammon. Mammon is serving money, and God is serving God. We have a choice. He gives us a choice. And one thing he doesn't like, he says, I want you to be hot or I want you to be cold. Because if you're lukewarm, I don't have no need for you. I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. That's what the scripture says. Now, imagine this. A lot of people don't know what that means. That means that if I go to that water faucet, I either want a real cold glass of water that comes out of the refrigerator, or I want to take that water and put it in the microwave and make me some good coffee, some good hot chocolate, something warm. But don't give me water that's lukewarm, or don't give me water that is in the middle. I don't want that. I don't want lukewarm hot chocolate. I don't want lukewarm coffee. I don't want a lukewarm cup of water. If I'm going to get any kind of water, I want it to be warm, hot rather, or I want it to be cold. So God has given you this scenario to let you know, if you're going to do what you're going to do that. If you're going to do what you want to do for me, do that. But don't be in the middle. Don't be going to church, steady going to church, and bust hell wide open and living two different lives. Now, let me give you the picture of what that means. That means being a preacher, going in the pulpit and sleeping with different women all the time, or period, or other than your wife, in the church even, or that means you're just a Christian in the church and you are deciding you're going to live that double life and be a Christian and be in the club all the time, period. If you decide to start hanging out in the club as a Christian, God is not going to condemn you. He's going to allow you to figure out when he sets things in place to draw you back, because he's that kind of God. He's the kind of God that he loves us so much that he will whether woo you with his love. He gave his only begotten son to get you because he loves the world so much that he gave up his son to die on the cross for us. So he's telling us basically that if you're going to do something, do it with all your might. If you're going to be for the devil, do it with all your might. He'd rather know the difference because he can reach us on that side. He can reach us on that side, but he can't reach us when we're playing with our own mind or with our own destiny or with our own salvation. And we're just playing a game with it. And what I mean by that is he knows your heart. He knows if you're playing a game or if you're just caught up or if you've fallen into temptation. But if you're actively, purposefully, purposefully got your heart set on sinning, then you're one way. If you're not and you're caught up in something, that's a whole different thing. And a lot of people won't teach you this in the church. They'll make you feel like they're getting it right and they're self-righteous selves. And all the time they got a boyfriend or they got somebody else's husband and they're not letting go. They don't care. That's just what it is to them. So don't be lukewarm. So Lil Woody had the path set for him. He got in court. He took his ability to speak and say, he took his immunity and he maneuvered it. He maneuvered it to save his friends, all the people. What his purpose for doing that? Because I don't see him as a snitch. I didn't see him as a snitch. Let me put it like that. I didn't see him as a snitch. I saw him as a person that was maneuvering. But later on, I figured him out as a snitch because every time he got in trouble, he would call for Gaither, Investigator Gaither, and he would mysteriously get out. All their information on the RICO case came from two people, and you guys are going to trip out when I say this. Now, this is me discerning. I watched the whole trial, watch these rappers get up there and go on these podcasts and make their little money and get all this clout. But I watched them and I discerned them. And let me tell you something, Lil Woody and YSL Mondo is the reason why Fannie Willis brought that case. First of all, YSL Mondo got acquitted of some things and was told by Miss Fannie Willis, go on and be with your family and go on with your life. But you know, he said some things. Where's his paperwork? He said some things and it got the curiosity stirred with Fannie Willis. So when this RICO trial came up, that stuff was looked at. Lil Woody was found and he had to get in there and maneuver to keep from getting life for a crime that allegedly, I'm just going to say he may or may not have committed because we have no real evidence. I have no real evidence, but I've told you what I discern. So you can take it for base value if you want. But it's common sense. People don't even use common sense. I use common sense looking at that trial. And in that trial, Lil Woody put himself in the position of going and looking for the gun. And he talked about it on social media because he thinks he's so smart. You can't fool God's people. He talked about it on social media. And he said, oh, they just came upon me and they found the gun in the gym. It was on me. No, it was in there because you were in the interrogation room and you said, let me go. If you let me go, I'll find the gun. They didn't just happen to bust in on you and find that gun. You told them you were going to get it. You told them you were getting it and they just happened to show up. No, they didn't just happen to show up. You got the gun. Not only that, you said you went, y'all drove around, you and the other person that is unalive, just happenstance that this other guy's unalive, the one that got shot in your apartment, he's unalived Same one you did a video on with a guy that looked just like Big Nut, put a bag over his head. That video is still on social media. Stop playing, y'all. Use common sense. Just use common sense. I used common sense, but I also use discernment. So I compared the discernment back then to the discernment now. And in comparing the discernment now with Lil Woody is unhinged. And he thought he had to protect himself or cover himself when he was steadily going about what he was doing. And Charleston White was egging him on, and always on him, and always preying on him, hoping that he would become like him. And there's a saying in the Bible that the thing you fear can come upon you. And he feared, I believe, being like Charleston White because he did not want to be labeled like that. He didn't like the way Charleston White went about things, and he knew the jealousy that was in Charleston White. Charleston White, he shows his true colors. He's not lukewarm. He's cold. He's not hot for God. He's cold. But he throws God in there. But it's very evident that he says it's about his money because he has the love of money. He loves money. He loves what he does. No, he loves the result of the money for what he does, discrediting people, coming after people, saying things. That is not God. And he says he is just such a genius. He's such a genius and so highly intelligent. But have you ever heard of people saying you're so godly acting that you ain't no earthly good? Well, he's so his intelligence is not showing up the way it needs to be. And I hope he watches this video where God can use him. Because if he really let God use him, he knows a lot about history to his credit. He knows a lot about the Black struggle. But he uses that to play against people and to come at people and to make it look like other people. I'm against the rappers. I'll go to police. Yeah, I'm a snitch. And he does this. He does this song and dance game. You guys go for it. You watch his interviews because he has a little bit of truth sprinkled in. And like I said, you can't put bitter and sweet water in the same fountain. You're going to get nasty water. You're going to get a train wreck. But you guys are supporting him. You guys are steadily listening to his craziness. You guys even look at 607 Unc like he's some kind of genius. That's the way he makes his money. I can't knock him. But I can say these individuals are sprinkling mess. That just lets me know where we are in life. There is a scripture in the Bible that talks about people that are able to discern the times. And I know it comes from the word Issachar, but you're listening right now to a person that's able to discern the times. And when you're able to discern the times, I'm just telling y'all people, just come on in and if you're chosen, do what you're supposed to be doing. You don't have to do it overnight. Little by little by little, make your way back. Just because someone hasn't been in church and they start showing up in church doesn't mean they're playing with God. It may mean that they're coming back and getting back to basics. Just because a person still every now and then is pulled away and pulled back in, it may mean because they're trying to change their life and they're discerning the times. So I run into a lot of chosen vessels because I run into geniuses around me. Um, and I just won't get into how or where, but I run into geniuses around me. I know how to spot a genius. I know how to spot a person that's chosen or highly intelligent. I know how to spot jealousy. I know how to spot envy. Well, the root of envy and jealousy got into Lil Woody. It didn't just start. I mean, he wanted to become a rapper like Young Thug. He's speaking out about it. It's coming out. It's always been in his heart. And I'm not trying to judge him, but in order for him to get where he needs to go, where he desires to go, because he does desire to be a good person, but he allowed um, himself to be in this snitching predicament that he accepted at first, but now he doesn't want to accept it because he feels like I put in all this work for YSL. I didn't get nothing out of it. And he's speaking out and saying that now. So that means that it was still already still in his heart, even though he was on the witness stand defending and helping out the case by not repeating some of the things he said in the interrogation room that was probably bogus, some of it, and some of it sprinkled with truth and lies. But Lil Woody has himself in a predicament because he asked God to change him. This is part of the change. This is part of what God has to do to change us. He has to flip us over and sometimes make us topsy turvy in order to get our attention. And we don't want that. We want to let him get our attention in the gradual things that he turns a little bit topsy turvy so we can get a grip. Because to get totally exposed in the manner that he's getting out and crashing out, he's the one crashing out. To get totally exposed in this manner, Lil Woody is revealing to the whole world what's in his heart. Now, not only is he revealing to the whole world what his heart, I'm not going to be so hard on him, whether he's a murderer, whether he did all those things or not. What I believe, allegedly believe that he did, and what I allegedly believe that he's responsible for. It doesn't matter what I allegedly believe. It doesn't matter about my discernment. God covered it, just like he did Paul, the Apostle Paul, who was killing Christians thinking he was doing a service to God. God covered it, but he didn't have no easy life in giving back to God. But he didn't care. He didn't care if he was crucified upside down. He didn't care if he was crucified any kind of way because he wanted to prove and show God how much, show Jesus how much he had fell in love with him without even being one of those disciples that walked with him. So I said all that to say this next point. All of these people are being dealt with. Young Thug, Rollo, Charleston White, Lil Woody. Lil Woody began to get his focus off, though. Instead of focusing on what he was doing, he decided, I'm coming after the king. That's jealousy. That's hidden jealousy. I don't care what nobody says. That's somebody that you think, oh, they helped me get out of this. And you thought they, Young Thug, you thought they weren't going to come for you again. Just like you said, Gunna did something else to you, that you are such, I'll use the word gangster or man or whatever you say that you are, that he's not going to come back and do it again. That's because you have not gone through this test yet. You have not gone through the test of friends and friendship and giving your love out to people. I have. So I can see you. I see you. But you have not gone through the test. You have to go through this test because you're going to be great. I don't care what nobody say. I look at those things on the internet says, is Young Thug finished? Is he gone? Y'all said that about Kanye West. Is Young Thug finished? Is he gone? When you're chosen, you're not gone. It's a delay, but it's not a denial. It's preparing you for what you need. You said, Young Thug said, and I'm going to get back to my point. Young Thug said, I'm messed up in the head. I don't have my friends. I was with them all the time. Well, that's what you get when you go into greatness. God gets rid of those friends that you couldn't discern that they weren't friends. They were jealous people that were assigned to your life or that were jealous and decided to watch your life or get next to you and act like they were your friends, Gunna, and do something to you in your love and you're wishing that they would be better. That comes from God. That's God DNA. That's chosen vessel DNA on the inside of you. You can't understand why you were looking for love in these people. You're just like God. God looks for love in return from us. And he gets hurt every time that he looks for love from us. And when you're a chosen person, you have that love DNA with you that when somebody else does something evil, They can relish in it, but we can't even rejoice when judgment comes on people that have done wrong to us, because we don't have that in our heart. We're born from another world. We're from somewhere else. And there's just not an evil bone in my body. And I can say that truthfully. I've had people do me wrong. I've had people try to get me in jail. I've had people that live with me, sleep with the person that is my significant other, and smile in my face. I've had all these things happen to me and turn around and be friends with that person because I love them. And it seems crazy and idiotic when y'all seen him on the Interview with Perspectives and Bank. I think that's his name. It may have seemed crazy and idiotic to you for him to come out and still be calling Gunna a rat. He went through 3 years. He experienced this. Just because he gets out doesn't mean that he's not affected by the love. It wasn't him sitting on there. You guys discern something totally different. I don't know what y'all was watching, but I watched that interview. You guys discern that, oh, he's unhinged. Even the interviewer, I was disappointed in him. Every point he made was trying to get back to Gunna's side. You say you're not a biased interviewer. Well, then you need to stop making every question, oh, but I don't think he meant that. Or, well, don't you think that maybe he can't talk to you? I mean, every single response you had it wasn't, to me, non-biased. So I can't give you points on your interview. I'm sorry. You should have been more neutral. But besides that, should show him, that interview should show him, if you chose that platform, that you thought he was a friend, but he's a frenemy. That interview should wake your mind up. That interview should show you something in itself. Go back and look at the interview. You poured your heart out to the world because you don't understand why all this is coming at you. It's coming at you because you're supposed to be great. And you can't get to the next level until you're betrayed. You can't get to the next level until you lose friends. You can't get to the next level until you get to yourself. Why do you think you were locked up anyway? God pulled you to yourself so that you could zero in on you. You were in 23 hours, 1 hour out of custody. And you had all that time to pray and think. And Lil Woody had fingers pointed at you in this last couple weeks to try to expose you. But anytime you have fingers pointed at you to expose somebody else, you have 1, 2, 3 pointed back at you. Look at these fingers pointed back at me. These right here. So him getting on the offense, and trying to come at you and pull you down so that he don't go down, when he should have just calmed down and focused on the fact that God had mercy on him. So what? You decide to get out and turn over another leaf, Lil Woody. How long? How long has it been since the Young Thug? You ain't even did a good year. You haven't even did a good year. And you've let the evil Woody come out. I'm just being real hard on you right now, Lil Woody. You let the altar person that you're trying to get away from come out. And God had the mercy of Paul on your life. And before it's over with, you're getting so unhinged, you're going to give up stuff that's going to land you. They're going to find some kind of way to put you away if you're not careful. And this is my warning to you from God. To put you away if you're not careful. You're making threats to go to Miami to find Young Thug. That don't sound like the Woody I've been watching a little bit lately. You're making threats that if your daughter wakes up from her surgery and cries, you're coming after Young Thug. All because you made decisions as a man to do things for other people. And you shouldn't have. You should not have sacrificed your life to do these quote unquote things where people are no longer around, allegedly. Nobody gave you responsibility over that trial because God was going to have his way anyway. But nobody gave you the responsibility to finish the job or the jobs to secure other people's freedom. You decided to do that. You can't put that on anybody else. You can't decide to crash out and start putting all this on Young Thug because they're making everybody is on social media calling you snitch. Then you want to try to ride Gunna's coattails and say, Gunna, you did what you had to do to come get back home to your family. And I salute you. You ain't said that until this last week, last couple of weeks. Why? Is somebody not giving you money? Were you getting some money under the table from Young Thug and now you're not? Or is your YouTube money running out? What's going on with you, Lil Woody? And I'm just being real. I'm a real person as a person that is in God. I'm very real and I'm very street. I'm street before I was real. I was real before I was street. I was always that. And I was always a champion for people. And I love people. I love God's men. And I'm really saying this because I love our Black men. I love God's men, period. But I especially love my race of men. And people that are of any race, that are destitute, the homeless. A lot of you don't even know I ran a halfway house full of men. And before I did that, my husband ran a halfway house with 156 men. And we had about 30 women that I oversaw when we were together. God rest his soul. But let me tell you something about me, how I can speak on this, and the love of God that I have in my heart. I have the love of God in my heart enough to discern this situation and try to fix it. I'm not going to be a Christian and write it out in church. God didn't even call me to sit in the four walls of the church. He called me to be evangelist and to win souls for the kingdom and to knock the devil's teeth out as much as I can. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm knocking his teeth out. And he don't like it because he stopped my first video, part 1. And as soon as I said Young Thug was a chosen vessel, he cut my video off, but it's not off now. And I prayed. And I'm saying to you right now that I know about men in the street, been around pimps, players, and hustlers for a long time in my life. Yes, me. No, I don't look like this. No, I don't look like it. I don't look like what I've been through. But let me tell you something. Right now, I'm in the music industry. I have music that I've executively produced. I have even a feature on a song. I've written music. I have artists that I work with. So let me tell you, I can speak on this. I'm not just somebody that has a YouTube channel that says graceful exposure. I am the girl. I am that one. I am the person. When I walk in a room, people get uncomfortable. Why? Because I'm the sweetest thing. I'm the sweetest person. But to my enemies and to the devil that doesn't like me, he feels like I'm stepping on his territory because I will walk in his territory and I will be a light that shines. And I refuse to stay behind the four walls of the church and get enough for me and my 3. I refused for me and my 6, for me and mine. I refuse to not give back, let you know the things that I discern and the things that I know about this life we're in, about manipulation, jealousy, envy, tactics. I can discern you if God releases me to discern you, but I'm a biggest secret keeper that you'll ever know in the world. I can discern you and never say anything, but if God reveals to me to come out and say the things that I'm saying, it's because he's having enough of you all in the hip hop industry letting the devil use you. You all pointing finger at who's a rat, who's a snitch, who's saying this, who's saying that. This brother, Young Thug, got on social media and I said to myself, Lord have mercy, why is he going on a podcast? He should leave it alone for now and go on one later. This is not the time to go on. What he did is he allowed the enemy to trick him into going on the podcast, especially when I saw who was interviewing him and how he interviewed him. I know it was a trick of the enemy, but it doesn't matter what kind of trick the devil throws at a chosen vessel. God always brings them out. He has angels, he has people, he has individuals that he will set in place to speak on his behalf, speak on her behalf, speak on any chosen vessel's behalf. and he will bring them out. And sometimes he won't even allow anybody to speak on your behalf, and he'll let you go through it. And because you get pig-headed and bullheaded and you want to get out there and tell your narrative, people don't care about your narrative at certain times until God tells you to tell it. One thing about a testimony, you don't tell a testimony until you're out of the mess. Wait till you get out of the mess and then do the testimony. But in the meantime, go be silent. And this is a word for you, young thug. Be silent. Leave it alone. Let God handle it. Now, I believe that he put this young lady in your life. And guess what? She'll stay in your life. She'll stay in your life if God allows it. And I believe he will allow it. But you got to do right by this woman, whether you're going to be with her, whether it's for a season, for a lifetime, whatever the case may be. But all that's up. And a message to her for Glorilla, who is just, I ain't gonna pour salt on Glorilla, but Glorilla was in the middle of Yo Gotti and Angela and in that situation. And I don't know what she said on social media and what she meant by it. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes between that triangle. That's not for me to say, but I do know this. For her to hear herself be talked about and for Young Thug to be playing in her DMs, totally wrong. But for her to respond and say, you didn't say that when you were in my DMs asking what color my eyes are. That was manipulative. Because if you want to really act like he was really chasing you or going after you, and maybe he cared about you as an artist and wanted to talk to you in your DMs because it's not public, it doesn't have to be public knowledge. When we talk to another male or female, when we're females, we can have conversation with our peers, and it should not be restricted to male or female, but sometimes you have to use discretion. Discretion is everything. I may have a conversation with somebody that I need to get money from that is a male, that they're beneficial to what I need to have done in this moment in my life. And discretion is everything. But to respond when you know you look good, Gorilla, you look beautiful, and you're from Memphis, and I used to live in Memphis. You look good. So you don't have to dignify yourself with a response. And then when you did, that can hurt a whole relationship. If you're a girl's girl, you were on stage with the young lady, Mariah. You're a girl's girl. You could have kept that tweet to yourself. But you wanted to expose him. Sometimes exposure has to be graceful, and that was not graceful. Sometimes God doesn't care about graceful exposure. He wants to just expose. But in that situation, you don't want to hurt another black sister. You don't want to do that. So what am I doing? I'm just older than all y'all. So I can come on here and I can try to straighten some things out only because God allowed me to. And because I watched, I listened. I wanted to learn my children. I wanted to learn my youngest children and figure out what are they watching on social media. I want to know how my children tick. God gave me right before COVID to start watching YouTube. And I got my YouTube channel in 2018, 2019, around that time. But I began to watch to see what my children were into so that I would understand my children for this generation. Because I love my children and I love y'all. I love music. I love everything about music and people. And I am not going anywhere. And you guys gonna see a lot from me. But let me say this one last thing, and God didn't let me forget Charleston White. Charleston White, if you want to get approval by God, you have to change your ways too. All of you. This is affecting all of you. You know why? Because God is trying to help y'all make it into the kingdom. And some of you have a better, greater assignment than others. And don't play with the mercy and the grace, Lil Woody, that God's given you. Just repent and stop trying to be crabs in a barrel. This man poured his heart out on perspectives, and he shouldn't have had to say that he gave Gunna this. Help Lil Woody with that. If you're going to do something, do it in secret. Don't be patting yourself on the back when you look like you're in trouble and you've been exposed. God allowed you to be exposed. Young Thug. No, you're not a rat. No, you're not a snitch by any definition. You're very smart. You're a genius too. You manipulated yourself out of that situation because you needed to. I mean, you didn't have anything to do with it. And I don't care what nobody says. Yeah, maybe you are King Slime and maybe you knew about some of these things. But the problem you have is so evident from that interview. You trusted and loved the wrong people. But we go through that because we have that DNA, that love DNA in us. And God has to get that out before you go to that next level, bro. You gotta have the test before you can make it to the next level. Right now, you're in the hot seat, you're in the test, but it's gonna get smoother. It's gonna get greater later. And now, how would you expect to have the best music in the situation that you're in? The state is on your tail with probation, and you have to rap without violating probation. So God has to give you this test so that you can be the genius that you are, the artful person that you are, that I know that you are because I've watched. I know you. You can't get that anointing and you can't get that music out that is going to keep you protected and is going to heal the world. You can't get it out until you go through something. And you can't bring other people through where you've never been. So you're going through this now. Everything that you're going through now, it will help you to be able to help the next person. And I'm sorry, but you're in the potter's wheel, in the potter's hand, and you gotta let him make you. It may not feel comfortable the way he's making you right now, but if you get this message and you can just hold on to a little bit of this message, because I've seen you in the spirit. When I was watching your trial, I've seen you a couple times in the spiritual realm, personally. I've seen you, and I think you know who I am. But when you get to your music now, that what you said, I don't have it. I don't have my brothers. I don't have my friends. I'm fucked up. Ooh, excuse me, Lord. I'm messed up in the head. I'm messed up in the head. I can't do no music. You're not supposed to do music right now. You got money. Sit back. Let God do something in you and bring the revelation to you. Get in that studio. Get in that studio and work. Forget what's out here in the world and get ready. Because when you do come out, forget about the interviewer saying, you supposed to been getting out with the album. You supposed to been dropping this. Don't drop nothing. Get in silence. Don't drop nothing. Don't be on nobody's time schedule. Get blessed off of your royalties. Use what you got. I know you got a big bill from the attorneys, and it may be not what you used to, but God's going to keep you anyway. And you have to be content, the scripture says, in whatever state you find yourself in. That means money-wise. He's going to supply what you need. He ain't got to bring you down in front of people. He's not going to do that. It's not going to happen. People have been waiting for you to fail. People have been watching. These people, these Woodies, these Charleston Whites, these other people that are on social media right now are just waiting. These are wolves waiting to see you fall, waiting to see you crumble, waiting to see you crack, waiting to see me fall, waiting to see me crumble. I just recently had somebody trying to put me in jail and even told them, oh, I'll go to court against her, and thought I didn't know who they was, and they were this close of a friend. They thought they were, but they were like this. Because years ago, they had my car towed, and I still tried to love them. They stayed with me, lived with me. I let them come stay with me 3 different times, my dumb blonde self. But when time was up, when God wanted to get them out of my life, he just did it. This just happened to me a few months ago. He got them out of my life. And you know what? He even showed me who was my enemy. Every time they did something, he revealed it to me. I'll give you one instance. I'm going to give you one example. I was probably 2011, two car notes behind on my car. I had my car at somebody's house. It was a 2001 Mercedes Benz. And I was waiting on my student loan as I was going doing my master's degree. And yeah, I got a master's degree. And she caught wind of it and said, you know, you need to move that car from over there. You don't want nothing to happen to it. I said, well, I don't have anywhere else to move it right now. And our folks said, oh, you should bring it over to my house. I said, well, I only got one toe. Are you sure? Are you positive? Because I only have one toe and I'm getting ready to go to Nigeria. Not Nigeria. I was going out of town. Sorry. I was in Nigeria then because I do have a business in Nigeria. Um, and I had my car towed to their house. Flew out of town. I was gone for a month on business. It was a job I had where I was doing some teaching and some revamping of this particular ministry. I wasn't there gone a week. And this person called me and told me, you need to come and get your car because if somebody hits it, you're going to be trying to sue me and da 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 da. I just made some stuff up. I said, I'm not going to sue you. Why would I do that? And you're helping me, you know. And no, you need to get your car. I said, I can't come right now. I got a round trip ticket. I'm not due back for 2-3 weeks. No, you need to move it now. She had the key to my car. It drove and it was able to drove a certain amount. But I told her I don't want to mess it up, you know, because I had a mechanic that was going to be looking at it. Long story short, I flies back in town because she wasn't answering, goes to see about my car. And she said, I don't know. It was right out there and it's gone. It was just right out there. Now you would think if she didn't want it in her yard or in her driveway that she would push it on the street and let it sit there. Nothing would have happened to it. The tags weren't gone. So I had to call the police, make a police report to report it missing. Lo and behold, I didn't know. She didn't tell me she did this. But there was a man that saw me walking around confused. I had the mechanic. We were getting ready to get the car and tow it away. I had the mechanic with me. And the man came out of his house and he said, are you looking for a Mercedes that was silver, gray? I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, there was two people that pushed it and it was in front of the no parking zone sign in front of his house. It's like a cul-de-sac. And I looked where he showed me, it was a sign that said tollway zone. He said they pushed it right in front of that sign. How wicked can you be? And so I called the police. I goes up to her door to tell her I found out where it was and how could she dare do that to me. Out of all the stuff I did, she stayed with me 3 times. Out of all I had done for her, the police came. She told the police put me on no trespassing. I was going off. Yeah, Christians go off. I was going off. She had my car towed. God didn't want me to handle it myself because everybody looked at her. She was lighter than me. And everybody looked at her as she couldn't do no harm. So nothing came of that. I lost that car. I got another Benz now. Doesn't matter. But nothing came of it. I tried to make a report, tried to take it to a small claims court. How about I stopped talking to her for 5 whole years? 5 years. I would not speak to her because I cut people off. I know when God is having me cut people off. My husband, late husband, my children's father, passed away in 2016. 5 years later. She shows up because her sister lived on the next street, and I was crying to her sister, very distraught. We were separated at the time. She shows up at my house with chicken. Of course, we didn't have food. The devil knows how to get you. He knows how to feed you. He knows when to come around. These friends that these individuals have that they call friends, they know how to come when you're down. They don't, you notice they're enemies when they're not coming around you when you're up and when you're good. But when you're down, when you lose your car, when you lose someone you love, whenever they hear that they can be a help to you, I'm going to tell you how to recognize your enemies. When they can be a help to you, they come around when you're down. You don't hear from them. You don't got a phone call from them. You do have friends that you don't hear from that you pick up with them and you're good. But I'm talking about these individuals that don't come around until they think you're at their level and they can assist you. And then you find yourself, because you love people and you're not suspecting of people being this evil, you find yourself using their help, and then all of a sudden God will reveal them to you every time. Every time. So you that's listening to me in my audience, you that's listening, start looking at how God reveals these people to you. Stop being a doormat. Stop feeling like you got to turn this cheek and that cheek and get slapped on it. You use your power and authority. Stop using the scriptures that were thrown in the Bible that says um, you have to just love your enemies all the time. There's scriptures in the Bible that tell you, fall in your own pit that you set for me. Lord, have them fall in their own pit, the own net that they set for me, for my demise. Find those scriptures in the book of Psalms and start cutting people off. When you know they're shady, one day they're up and they're singing your praises. Yeah, yeah. So and so, so and so. And one day they're trying to throw shade or reveal something about you. That's not your friend. That's an enemy. I know how to recognize those folk. And I will straight up look a person in the face and say, we ain't talking. We ain't friends. Stop talking to me. You made that decision. Most of the time, I let people just sink themselves so I can get rid of them. I've learned how to do that. And guess what? It took me years to learn these things. So I'm going to cut this video short. It's almost an entire hour. It's 9 minutes before. Um, it's an entire hour for this live. But I think I've told you enough. Setting the record straight. The interview on perspectives, Young Thug shouldn't have done. He shouldn't have even revealed what he does for people in that way. He shouldn't have went on that interview. He should have ignored the gainsayers. Should he have not come out and called Gunna a rat? He had every right to say what he felt. He ain't no super Christian. You're talking about a gangster thug that just probably found Christ in his jail cell and didn't know the hand of God was on his life the whole time. He's the one out of all those 11 children that God has chosen in his family. The hand of God has been on his life. And God put him in the belly of the whale like Jonah. So now, what? So what? He didn't get out and pretend like Lil Woody. He came out and he was himself. He was hot or cold, like God likes us. Not lukewarm, not manipulating. So Lil Woody, stop going on these rants on social media, talking about what you're going to do to Young Thug. You had such a good following and demeanor, and I'm sorry, this video might bring your little platform down, but I want you to win. I want you to win because you didn't know no better. And God has forgiven you for all that stuff in the past. Don't bring it back up. Don't let God charge you with stuff that he's forgiven you for. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. This is Graceful Exposure. I want you to decide if you want to get a notification on my next video because I don't even think I have to address this again. Part 1 and part 2. Make sure you watch those videos. I do have a couple of clips that will come out that will show you some of the things that I'm talking about that Little Woody discussed on social media. Not pinning no roses on any Young Thug, Charleston White, Lil Woody, or Gunna. Not going to speak on Gunna's situation because I did a video on him and says I don't call him a rat. I don't call him a snitch. But he has some history with Young Thug that I know nothing about. Young Thug knows what he did before that he forgave him of. Well, he may be just the kind of person that was like my friend that revealed her stripes, or he may be a person that really didn't know. And I'm leaning more towards with Gunna, a person that didn't know that this alpha plea would get him into all this situation. I feel like that he took the plea because it was the smartest thing to do instead of just writing it out like he's this big gangster. He was innocent and he didn't feel like those things that he said would affect. I believe that it was fault of his lawyer. I discerned that it was a fault of his lawyer. You know why? Because there's a album that he put out before this album, and I heard him in the song singing, rapping about how, and I know he was talking about Young Thug, how I got it on my YouTube channel. Just find it. I think it's that video that I used and was really heartfelt. And I really could see the pain that he was going through with having hit a strange an estranged relationship with Young Thug. So take it for what it's worth, Young Thug. You're wrong about Gunna, and you can release that. I don't believe he's that kind of person. Maybe he did something, did one thing, and hurt you because you love so hard. But if he didn't, if you can't compare this thing, saying yes, ma'am, to an Alfred plea, to whatever he did before. We're human beings. We make mistakes with our friends, and that's what communication is about. I understand on one hand why you feel hurt that Gunna did not come back and try to speak with you after all this because you want closure, but maybe he doesn't know the way to approach you, but he knows now. He knows how you feel. And I'm hoping y'all can reconcile. I think, I think that you guys are going to make the biggest album together. I think that. It just came to me in my spirit. I feel it right here. And you're a part of each other and you're part of the label. So make that money, break that bread. Ah, I did this video and I didn't even know I was going to feel that. I know when God is showing me something, and that's anointing of the Holy Ghost. So, I'm going to leave it on that note. This is Graceful Exposure. Please subscribe to my channel. Get the subscriptions up so that I can reach more people, that I can gracefully expose some things and help. All right? Peace out. We're going to sign out. Yeah. Bye. Take care. Appreciate y'all listening for so long.